Hello and welcome to the Hoops Hall of Fame podcast. This is Matt Lehner. I want to talk about the importance of reading and learning, whether that be for basketball, for school, for your business, for anything you want in your life, relationships. The importance of learning, reading, and growing every single day. I'm going to give you a few specific reasons on why you need to be taking this very seriously, and then I'm going to give you some practical ways you can incorporate this into your daily life. The first one is if you're not growing, you're dying. Meaning that with your mind, if you're not constantly feeding your mind with new knowledge, with new thoughts, you're just allowing all these external circumstances, external influences to take control of your life. Meaning that the things people say to you, the circumstances that happen to you in your daily life, you're allowing those things to affect you and affect your thinking. Now, if you're feeding your mind with positive thoughts, new thoughts, and things that are going to keep your mind on things that you want to achieve, then when these external circumstances happen to you, you'll look at them with a positive outlook. Just look at your day today, or your day yesterday, or your day recently, and think of all the negative influences, or at least things that you perceived as negative that happened to you. Things people said, things that happened to you. Maybe you lost your basketball game, maybe your significant other said something to you, got in an argument, maybe your parents are mad at you. Whatever the situation is, just think of all the negative things that happened and how it affected your actions and your thoughts. Now, obviously, we can't necessarily control the things that happen, but if we're feeding our mind with positive things by reading, by listening to audios, by feeding our mind with positive thoughts, we can change the way we perceive these things. We won't allow it to take hold of our lives, and we'll respond in those circumstances in an appropriate manner. Like we talked about in a previous podcast, when these situations happen, we won't necessarily react, we'll respond. And if you haven't seen the difference, or if you don't know the difference between the two of those, go back and listen to the podcast on perspective. But again, if you're not growing, you're dying. You need to be learning every day. You need to constantly be taking steps forward. Remember, consistency. And another concept you have to understand is that knowledge is becoming obsolete. Meaning that what you know today, a year from now, 2 years from now, a month from now, that knowledge will be commonplace. So this is really something that takes place in the business world in particular, that the knowledge you have now is not going to be able to keep you sustainable in your place of work 5 years from now. So you need to constantly be learning. You need to be keeping up to date on all the trends that are taking place in the economy and in the world. In a basketball perspective, you need to be keeping an eye on what the basketball world is up to, the training that the players are doing, the way players are playing. You need to be taking these things into consideration, because if you're not, your game, the way you play, can become obsolete in the matter of a couple years, a month. You need to constantly be growing and paying attention to the things going on around you. And again, reading and learning will help you do this. And like I said, it just affects your positive outlook. When you're feeding your mind with these books, you're changing the way you think. It's not a matter of reading these books, listening to these books, watching these videos, and necessarily taking notes on everything, trying to memorize everything. It's just a matter of getting the information in your mind and allowing it to change your outlook on life and on circumstances and the way you view things. I mean, from my own perspective, I've had a lot of things that have happened, a lot of emotional turmoil, a lot of bad games, a lot of setbacks and injuries, things not going the way I wanted them to. And I can tell you from experience that when you're not feeding your mind, you're not reading, you're not learning every single day, that slowly but surely these negative influences take control, and you wake up one day and you haven't done anything. You're depressed, you're not happy. But on the flip side, when you actually start reading, you start learning, day by day, you start building that positive outlook. You change the way you think and the way you view these circumstances, and you're actually able to control them and flip them around and actually make them positive. And another thing you have to realize for basketball players, not all of us are coached by Phil Jackson, Coach K. You know, we don't have these legendary coaches who have a ton of wisdom to pour upon us. And sometimes we play for bad coaches, right? So sometimes it's not a matter of relying on our coach to teach us the game, relying on the coach to teach us things about life. You have to take responsibility for it yourself. You need to be reading, you need to be learning, and take full responsibility for doing that yourself. Don't rely on your coaches, your parents, your friends, your teachers to teach you the things you need to learn. At the end of the day, you're on your own. You're an individual. You're responsible for your life. You're responsible for the knowledge you obtain or don't obtain. You're responsible, so you need to take control of this. You need to start taking these things very seriously. You need to be reading. You need to be learning every single day. Alright, and now I want to give you some strategies on how you can incorporate reading and learning into your life. First thing is, with reading, you want to get into a ritual with it, meaning you want to read at specific times and make it a habit. That's a key with anything. You got to make it a habit. So reading in the morning is a great thing because it really fills your mind with these positive ideas and influences right away in the morning. So it's the first thing that's going into your mind. So it's a great tool to get into or to use in your daily life. Another good time is before you go to bed, because it helps quiet your mind. 20-30 minutes before you go to bed, and it fills your mind with these, again, the first things you think about in the morning and the last things you think about at night are the things that your mind will ruminate on throughout the day and while you're sleeping. So very good times to get into reading. Another one that I learned from Taylor Allen is reading while you eat. So if you're eating meals by yourself, obviously when you're eating with family or friends, this is different. I'm not saying don't be social, don't have a good social time. Eating is actually a great time. If you look out throughout society and throughout history, eating was associated with being with people. It was a social activity. So if you're eating with people, that's different. But when you're eating by yourself, you can read or listen to audiobooks or watch videos. It's a great time to actually incorporate this reading and learning aspect into your life. Obviously, you eat 3 to 5 meals a day. So even if it's just 2 times a day, it's a great time to get reading and learning in. Another tool that I personally use and has been a great benefit in my life is listening to audiobooks while you're doing just random activities. For me, I listen to them at work all day. At the current job I'm working, I get 7 to 8 hours where I can just listen to audiobooks. So I can get through 1 to 2 books a day, depending on how long it is, sometimes 3 books a day, just on audio. Now that's very, very, very powerful. You can do this while you're driving in the car, while you're just doing any random activity, doing the dishes, cleaning your room, cleaning your car, walking, even while you're doing your weightlifting. I wouldn't recommend it while you're doing basketball workouts. But just anytime you're just doing another activity is a great tool. It's one that I use, obviously, like I said, has allowed me to get through hundreds and hundreds of books. So it's very, very powerful. And again, it comes down to habits, and it comes down to you need to take responsibility for these things. Realize that you're responsible for your mind, you're responsible for getting these things done, and reading and learning is probably the most important thing you can do in basketball, in life, if you want to truly be successful. Alright, thanks for listening today to the Hoops Hall of Fame podcast. Please like, Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. You guys know the drill. Continue to share this podcast with your friends or anyone you think that would be interested on what we have to say here. And again, if you're interested in getting trained for basketball, please stay in contact with me. Again, I'm building the website and getting things put together for you guys. I know a lot of you have said to me that you're interested, so I'm definitely going to get things running for you guys. And again, thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to all of you again tomorrow on the Hoops Hall of Fame podcast.